What's going on, American truckers? How's everybody doing this evening? Well, I'll come talk to y'all today about something a little bit different. We'll talk about brokers, owner-operators, and the real enemies, basically, the real problem in the industry. I know in recent years, drivers have wanted clarity as to how much the broker is getting paid for the load. Would it help? Not really. Certain parts of the country, it won't help you at all to know what the broker is getting. Some brokers will tell you what they're getting. Sometimes it's on the BOL. Doesn't matter. There's a lot of drivers out there. They'll just adjust their delivery times and they'll get it ran anyway. Not only that, but business is business. It wouldn't do any good. And me, if I was worried about it, I would just go directly to the shipper. I'd do direct ship. I'd take the broker completely out of it. There's no law that says a broker has to broker a load. A carrier can do it themselves. They don't have to use a broker. You can call a shipper and get a load yourself and get paid directly. It's an option. The more trucks you have on your fleet, the easier it is. You can even set up, steady freight. But even if you're a one truck operation, you can still do it. You can sit down, you can do the work that the brokers do and call all these places. All right. I myself did the owner operator thing. Did it, for a couple of years. I really didn't care for it. I like insurance. And I also seen some of the problems in the industry, and I'll get into that here in a minute in this video, closer to the end, as to why directly I don't do that anymore. But I tell you right now, the biggest enemy in trucking ain't the broker, it ain't the shipper, it ain't the receiver. It's the other truckers. It's other drivers. It's that simple. I got a good friend of mine that's a broker. I actually trained him. He was a driver at one time. Trained him, I don't know, I guess about 8-9 years ago. He's been a broker for about the last 4 or 5. And we talk probably twice a week. My father-in-law, he's also a broker. So I got a little bit of insight as to how their side works. I can tell you this too, drivers. If you ever want to become a broker, you don't have to go to school. You can get into brokering just like get into trucking. It's easy. You can call TQL, you can call any of them mega brokers, and they have programs to bring you in and train you and all that kind of crap. It's not hard to become a broker. But that's another video for another time. You have to be a salesman, though. I will say that. You got to be a salesman in order to be a broker. But still, that's another video for another time. Let's get into this. Why truckers? I can already see some of y'all on the other side of this going, huh? Drivers? How's a driver my enemy? I'll explain it to you. Well, it's a combination, drivers and government. I'm going to explain it to you. All right, that's just my perspective. It's what I see. It's the way it seems to me. Also from what I hear, talking to the couple brokers that I know, it's what I hear. Let's say you're going to pick up a load and you're negotiating a rate with them, and your rate gets a little bit too high for that broker. He's going to do one of a couple things. A, he's going to give it to you. B, he's going to tell you to call you back. One of the two. If he gives it to you, he ain't had anybody else call in on that load, and he needs it moved. He can't move the appointment. But if he's getting other calls on that load, he's probably going to call you back. Here's where the other drivers become the enemy. And I'm going to tell you now, most of the problem, don't take this wrong, but most of the problem is Middle Eastern companies, more so than anything. Middle Eastern independents, owner-operators. they can take that freight a whole lot cheaper than you or I can because their overhead is lower than yours and mine. They get tax initiatives, they get government grants, they get all kinds of things to help them operate their business as an immigrant in this country. I believe the Russians and Armenians do too, but I'm not for certain. They tend to be a little higher on their rates. They tend to not go as low. Even the Spanish, the Mexicans don't go as low. Your cheapest hauling people out there are Middle Easterns. They try to get as much as they can out of it, but they'll lowball it too. They don't hurt them none. A lot of times they're running 2-3 guys to a truck. They live in that truck. They're sending a lot of that money back. They usually operate under a church. They claim that their business is under a religion, so they go tax free and all kinds of things. They got all kinds of ways of working the system here in the United States in their favor. Not to mention the grants that bought them their trucks and the grants they get for maintenance and all them kinds of things. So they can operate and move that freight for less than you, me, or any other American citizen can. If you want to protest in Washington, that's what everybody should be protesting over. That's the major problem right there. That is it right there. Some of the things that could be done to combat it a little bit is if all the drivers communicated with each other. A good example of that is Chicago. The Chicago area's got a lot of Russian carriers, but both my father-in-law and my buddy down in Florida have both told me the same thing. If they got a load coming out of Chicago, they can call all them Russian carriers. None of them will drop below a certain price. If it's $2 a mile, none of them will go below $2 a mile. They communicate with each other. They talk to each other. And they will not vary on it. They pay more in that area getting freight moved sometimes than anywhere else in the country because the companies around there are so set in, hey, this is what freight's going to pay to haul this lane, this load, and none of us are going below it. If drivers did the same thing, it wouldn't take every driver out there, but it would take the majority. It's going to take 70%, and I'm taking a guess at it, but at least 70% of the drivers doing that in order for that to happen. You're not going to get rid of the Middle Eastern drivers. They're not going anywhere. If anything, we're going to get more of them. Government's bringing them in by plane loads. And as we get more of them, freight's going to begin to get cheaper. Here's the other issue with American owner-operators and the other enemy. The other enemy being the government. Two-part thing. One, the government's giving them grants that they're not giving us. All right. The other problem is the government keeps creating laws that affect mainly independent contractors. It's like they're almost trying to push all the independents out. All these e-logs, all these laws they've made, the hour of service, how strict they've gotten, the people it affects the hardest are independents. It don't affect these mega carriers. They can leave their trucks. They could run their trucks at 55 miles an hour with these e-logs and it wouldn't affect them. They'll just relay that load. You run as far as you can. The other driver picks it up, runs as far as he can. Don't affect them none. But as an independent with 1 or 2 or 3 trucks, can't do it. It takes you more time. So these laws are coming down. They're affecting you more. They're affecting your paycheck more. Where it doesn't affect the mega carriers as much. It doesn't bother them as much. So a lot of these laws that are enacted do OIDA ain't doing us no favors. American Truckers Association, they ain't doing us no favors either. If anybody's going to do it, it's us. We're going to have to do it ourselves. And I think it's going to take something different than protesting. Protesting ain't going to do it either. What it's going to take is drivers getting together and saying, look, we ain't hauling nothing, out of this area. We ain't hauling nothing under this rate. Out of this area, we're not hauling anything under this rate. It would take drivers organizing themselves, which I see kind of impossible because drivers don't tend to get along with drivers. Drivers talk crap to drivers. They never agree. Every driver thinks their way is the only way. It actually is depression and insecurity, but only, really intelligent people recognize that that's what it is. That's why drivers respond the way they respond. It's typically insecurity and depression from spending so much time alone. It's those two, you know, mental disabilities run real strong in trucking. And that's why you'll see drivers talk crap about stuff that don't make no sense. But I seen a dude exercising out beside his truck, and I listen to drivers on the radio talk crap about him the whole time he was exercising. What sense does it make to talk crap about somebody who's out there trying to better their body, trying to do something with their health? I mean, that don't even make sense. But just the driver way, just the way they are. We tend to lie a lot. That's the driver way too. That's a sign of insecurity, a sign of depression as well. Borderline personality disorders, some different things like that. But anyway, the biggest enemy to truckers, though, as far as owner-operators go, is other owner-operators. Now, is somebody out there ever got some sense about them and started organizing the drivers? You almost need a union. You start organizing the drivers, that would change. The only way I can really see around it is if you direct ship. You take the broker out of the mix, you start direct shipping, you'll probably get a little bit more, and it's still going to be cheaper on the shipper because they're not paying the broker, an upcharge for that percentage to cover the broker's fee as well. Shipper, you got a win-win there where shippers will prefer you. But you have to be consistent. If you haul for a shipper directly, you're going to have to be on time. You burn them, you'll probably never get a direct load with them again, ever. That's probably a one-shot deal. But that's the only thing I really think that would help it. I don't do the owner-operator thing because I understand that. And I feel like, in my opinion, trucking is going more of the way of being outsourced. It's been sold off. And I feel like in a few years you're going to see it get worse. And basically we're going to have mega carriers and foreigners. And most of your little outfits and your independents will all be foreigners. Especially as the laws keep tightening up, it just gets harder on Americans. And it sucks. I hate to see it happening. It's destroying an industry that I love. And it sucks. You got some other ideas? I'd love to hear them. Put them down there in the comments. But I hope y'all understand. And I don't mean this against anybody. Our government's the one that's allowing it. But we really need to pay attention in these elections, who we vote for. And vote for people that favor us a little bit more. Kind of look into their transportation ideas and vote for people that favor us. This administration we just elected, they don't favor us. They're in the green. They don't favor us at all. They're into less transportation. They're into going green. So they're probably going to push more rail, short haul, trying to revamp the way our transportation industry is done. They won't be able to do it in one in one set, but that's going to be their goal, and I think that's going to be the direction they go in. And that doesn't help us a bit. But hey, it is what it is. We elected them, so we got to deal with it, right? You'll have a great one. Stay safe out there. Don't hurt nobody. Try to stay warm. And give me some feedback and let me know what y'all think. What y'all think is hurting owner-operators the most. Have a blessed day. Keep trucking.